A heartbreaker tonight here at the Guv as Falmouth drops their second game of the season to Cotuit by a final of 3-2. David Hadar here alongside with Matt Levine here on Closing the Door. Matt, tonight a really tough game for this team. Probably what we could say the toughest loss of the season for the Commodores, who are now 0-6-1 here at home to start the year.
Well, they just can't seem to get the hit tonight. They couldn't get the hit. They had 2 solo home runs and 3 total hits. And again, that's not going to win you a game. You're not going to win when you score 2 runs off of 2 solo home runs. You got to get guys on base. They did. They got 9 guys on, or they left 9 guys on base rather, but those all came by walks and hit by pitches. And then 2 walks in the 9th, you get 2 guys in scoring position, the tying run on 3rd and the winning run on 2nd. A wild pitch moves them there because they were on 1st and 2nd. Move them into scoring position, and you don't bring them around to score. That is just unbelievably heartbreaking, and it continues at home where we don't know why, but the wins just don't happen here at home. They haven't happened yet, and we're in the middle of July. I think that's the most mind-boggling stat, the only team in the league that hasn't won at home yet. But to be in a situation like that with the top of the order up and 2 guys in scoring position and neither of them come through, it's just incredibly heartbreaking, and you can see the emotion throughout the entire game and mostly towards the end when they were all into it, the entire dugout with the rally caps. They were all up in the dugout on the top step, but then you come back and you can't get the hit in the end in the 9th inning with the 2 guys in the scoring position. It's just even more tough than it needed to be.
Part of the reason that this team has struggled so much at home is because the starting pitching just has not been there for the Commodores at home this season. Entering tonight, Falmouth had allowed the opposition to score first in every one of the games this season, and sure enough, that happened again tonight. Mitchell Stone, the starter tonight, went 4 innings, gave up 2 runs. It was one of his better starts, but in the end, those 2 runs plus another run allowed by Chuck Harrison just ended up being too much for this Falmouth team.
And we say that every single time we're here at home. The starting pitchers give up 2, 3, 4 runs, whatever it is, and that's enough for the opponent to win the game because the Commodores' bats seem to never be able to come out of the hole that they get themselves into early. It was the best start of the season for Mitchell Stone. Unfortunately, he gets the loss in his last start before the draft, a draft-eligible player. Hopefully, we get to see his name called, but it's just incredibly frustrating, I'm sure for the guys more so than us in the booth, but on the field, not being able to execute when you're down at home is the toughest thing we've seen all season.
And the 2 runs that Falmouth scored tonight both came via the long ball. This game was a little reminiscent of our game last Monday at YD. In that game, Falmouth had 3 hits, and all 3 of them were home runs. Tonight, the 2 runs that the Commodores ended up bringing across, solo shots from Jace Borfin and Taylor Smith. Those were some bright spots in the lineup because those 2 guys have been picking up the power. Well, Borfin had it, but Taylor Smith has really been picking it up over the last week and a half. And so if they can get all of it to start mesh together, that could turn into something for this team, but we're still waiting for that to really start to get there.
You got to hit with runners in scoring position. I think that's the main thing right now. And then, or you can start by hitting with runners on base. Then you can hit with runners in scoring position. Right now, the solo shots, while they're there and you're going to get a couple runs out of that, it's not going to be the complete performance like we see earlier in the season. 8 guys in the starting lineup would reach base and they'd score 8 runs. Things like that where you're driving in guys when they're on base, that's going to allow you to win more ball games instead of just 2 home runs, 2 runs. That's all you're having in the scoring, and that's just not enough usually. Sometimes you'll win a game 2-1, 2-0 that way, but it's rarely enough when you just have those 2 runs come across on solo shots.
I know the coaching staff has said this, that it just happens to be a coincidence that this team hasn't won at home yet, that there isn't anything about the Guv that is psyching them up or that's getting them out of their funk, that it just happens to be a pure coincidence. But from the way you've seen it through the first 7 games that the Commodores have played at home this season, is there something that to you seems to be out of funk with the team that they seem to bring with them on the road?
I think it might be a coincidence as well. I really can't say because they do have the fan support behind them here. Tonight, over 2,000 fans, which is the most all season. And then the entire dugout was lively throughout the latter stages of the game. So you're having your entire team into it with the fan support behind you. But the execution just failed late, and that's been the story where they get down early, they can't come out of it at home. On the other side, when they hit first, that might be it. I still think that might be it, although they are struggling on the road just a little bit more than they had been. Hitting first, though, getting out early allows them to get the lead, and then they don't have to play from behind. But at home, they've played from behind every single game.
Well, Wesley Sweatt came on tonight for his 5th outing of the season and pitched 2 innings against the Kettleers in the loss tonight, and he now is standing alongside our sideline reporter, Joanne Bethea.
Thanks, guys. I'm here with pitcher Wesley Sweatt. That game stung, but looking at the positives, you were able to have such a strong relief. How are you able to be so successful?
I guess more a mentality thing and being able to attack the strike zone and trust my defense to get outs. You know, that's what I really believe in, and just let my defense play.
Lots of frustrations in this game. How do you plan to use those moving forward?
You know, just use it as, you know, good energy to work harder and just, you know, be locked in, you know, every pitch to win some more games.
Awesome, thank you. Falmouth going down tonight in a tough loss to Cotuit, but they will be home tomorrow taking Orleans. Closing the door, I'm Joanne Bethea alongside David Hadar and Matt Levine.